The costly mistake of not examining your child. Why regular parenting reviews matter. I'm Ayodele Adebayo. Again, I'm saying welcome to Parenting, Discipline, and Foundation. All right? We're already in a series where we are dealing with costly mistakes that parents make. So, without further ado, let's dive in to today's topic: the costly mistake of not examining your child. In previous videos, I have established the fact that taking personal responsibility cannot be overemphasized. Okay? While I appreciate the necessity and the relevance of teachers and caregivers, I have personally decided to live with the policy of the assumption that I am the first teacher of my child. Okay? So, to be on the safer side, while they attend classes, the safest method for me, or which I recommend, is to assume that there is no caregiver, there is no teacher for them at all. It is a personal responsibility for you as a parent. Okay. So today we are talking about costly mistake of not examining your child. Has it ever occurred to you when your child comes with his report card after examination, and on the report card or report sheet, your child is said to have scored 90% of a particular subject? Let's say mathematics. I'm usually particular about mathematics, while I appreciate every other subject. All right. So your child has scored distinction, because anything above 90 is distinction. Okay. And so, upon careful examination as a parent, you get to discover that that child didn't score 90%. Okay. How do you feel at the end of the day? These are some practices in some schools in our societies today, probably to get you impressed. And you just discover there are just stories like this, okay, where your child is given a very high grade after examination or test or whatever assessment. And upon your own personal careful examination, you discover that that result is an overstatement. And that is happening right in our societies here. And I believe some parents will bear witness to that fact. Okay? So for you to just take what is handed to you from school as the only true picture of your child is irresponsibility. It doesn't matter the class of your school, of the school your child attends. Okay? It is your responsibility to take personal examination of your child. All right? I love giving analogies, to prove some points. Okay? Education is not just academics. There are vocational centers, vocational studies, which I strongly recommend. Okay, and there is academics, which most of us are familiar with. All right. Now, there are some lessons I want us to borrow from vocational centers. When a child is learning fashion designing, for instance, at the elementary stage, they learn such skills as measurement, cutting clothes, among other uh, elementary topics like that or skills. And usually, after some 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, evaluation takes place. Is the evaluation is even natural. Okay, so a child after 3, 4, 5 months, you say, no, you have graduated from just measurement. Go ahead and do this, go ahead and do that. So the progress is very visible and easily measurable. The same thing goes for automobile engineering that we call mechanic, where a child after the first or second year can now be able to, lose maybe carburetor or some part of the car to even, do some servicing. Okay, so you could tell this child is making progress. That is in the vocational centers, within the vocational education. The evaluation assessment is very visible. Okay, so you could tell whether the child is making progress or not. But in academics, on the other hand, most times the progress is not noticeable as such, not very trackable like you have in vocational studies. All right. I had an experience, several of these, with some parents, one of which I could just mention some few years ago, where a child was about to write common entrance. And the parent came to meet me, and it was just like a month to exam. So she wanted me to render some assistance to assess the child and, render some help. So upon examining that child within an hour and two, I discovered this child in primary five could, I will say from my own assessment, he's below 20%. So most of the topics in mathematics, this child doesn't have the understanding. He neither understand nor comprehend most of them because I was using the past questions and it was so painful for me to note. All right. So it was difficult for me to tell the parent exactly what I observed. And so what I just told her was that she should just allow him to go write the exams. And soon as he is done with exams, I will personally start giving him some lessons, some tutorials. Okay. So fast forward, the guy went and wrote exam. He passed common entrance as usual. Many just pass because some of us know what happens in the examination hall. All right, but there is life after the examination hall. There is life after the examination hall. Okay, as soon as the child was done with common entrance, I started a tutorial, and within first, second month, he is beginning to, because I visited the topics he ought to have known in primary school, which he didn't know. Okay, And fortunately, the parent was sharing some good testimonies with me, how that they noticed that this boy is now beginning to solve questions from the textbook by himself. Okay, a very remarkable development. Okay, now this is just a story of millions of experiences of parents. All right, now assuming the parent didn't bring that child to me in that time, the whole assumption is that the child is going to school, private school, where the parent just relaxes and feels all is well. So it's a costly mistake for you not to examine your child. The progress in academics usually are even hidden. You don't get to know on time. So, most of the pupils, most of the students, that is how they continue their journey. No foundation in primary school. They just continue and they just write SSCE. Okay. Unfortunately enough, funny enough, they still pass SSCE, through the agency of what we call miracle centers. But there is life after school. There is life after school. The foundation matters. Like the scripture say, when the right when the if the foundation is destroyed, what will the righteous do? What can the righteous do? Okay, so it is very costly for you not to examine the progress of your child. These children are innocent. They are innocent. They don't know what you know. Okay, so they depend on you for instruction, for guidance. They depend on you for counsels. All right, it is costly for you to allow your child go to school without being examined to render a helping hand. So thank you for your time. I would like you to like this video, share it so other parents will learn, for us to build a society of responsible and purpose-driven children. See you again in the next video. Thank you.